Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Sunday morning. With us today is Dr. Mehmet Oz, and he was with us on Friday, but there's so much more news to deliver. Well, Dr. Oz, give us what's new on Sunday morning.
Well, the reason I wanted to come back is breaking news over the weekend that we couldn't talk about on Friday. There's been a lot of fraud in Minnesota. Folks know that. We've been sending letters and are, making sure that Minnesota appreciates they're in big trouble. We then went to California. They've had a massive problem as well. And then you probably watched all the fireworks with Governor Newsom upset about the fact that we're looking under the hood to see why the engine's not running in California and all the fraud there. But this weekend, we have started to realize another big crisis. And we just sent a demand letter to the state of Maine and their governor. It turns out that Maine looks a lot like Minnesota. So what you've been watching on the news in Minnesota, if it concerns you, pay attention. Because what's happening in Maine, just like in Minnesota, they have a state program for children with autism. Remember, in Minnesota, they had the Somali fraudsters. They set up fake treatment centers, stole millions of dollars of taxpayer money. Well, same thing's happening in Maine. And 2 weeks ago, our investigators at Health and Human Services released a report on this autism program. They thought it wasted at least $45 million. But here's some important things that you should know about this money. First of all, 100% of the claims that were examined had problems. Everyone. We learned that the program's payouts increased 50% in just 4 years. And they have all these treatment centers that are the same as in Minnesota. They're clustered in small geographic areas. They also, by the way, have a Somali population. In Maine, who knows if that's connected. We reviewed the paperwork as missing critical information. And the most troubling is that Maine has never checked. They never looked. So we went to the governor. We wrote. I sent the letter out. I went out over the weekend, identifying the fraud that they have there is important. They have to be responsive to this letter. And we are going to keep fighting and looking for these fraudulent expenses because it's ripping money out of the hands of our most vulnerable. We estimate there's $100 billion of fraud coming out of the programs I administer, Medicare, Medicaid, and the like. And that money is coming out of people pockets, taxpayer pockets, unfairly. And as often as the poorer states paying extra taxes, they then go to the states that tolerate the fraud. And we're hearing rumors about New York, by the way, for your listening audience. And you've been seeing it more and more in the local papers in New York. But we're getting concerning letters from individuals about tolerance of fraud. It's not so much the fraud's happening, but if the state is not dealing with it, then that raises major concerns.
Understood. Now, how can this happen? I mean, me and you grew up in America, and aren't there any checks and balances, and that kind of money just disappears?
Well, John, you're a very successful businessman. When really smart people don't do things, you probably know that they don't do it on purpose. So the question we should be asking ourselves is what you just brought up. Why would they tolerate it? So let me give you some clues, I think. These are hypotheses. I can't judge people's motivations, just their actions. Turns out that by federal law, if I sign you up for Medicaid, I must offer you also the right to vote, a voter ID. So it turns out that allowing people to enter the rolls inappropriately doesn't hurt everybody. Some people like that. If you're a governor of a state like Waltz and you like having all the Somali population, 80, 90% of the fraud indictments so far are coming from that group, that's a problem. I think the same might be happening in other parts of the country, in California and maybe in Maine. We'll see. But there is certainly a belief that this fraud is not a flaw. It's a feature of the system. And if we don't look at it too hard and don't focus in, then maybe people will say, oh, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's a cost of doing business. I can tell you my agency, CMS, we're not as strong on fraud detection as we could have been. And we're spending a lot of time. We have good people, superb people, but there hasn't been a major focus of the organization until this administration came in. The focus was always on enrolling more people into insurance, even if they didn't need that insurance because they were insured with another program. We have duplicate insurance. This costs this country more than $10 billion a year. That's when you're registered in more than one state's Medicaid or Medicaid and the Obamacare exchange at the same time. And think about this. When that happens, both groups get paid. We buy two policies. And if you're not paying for it as the person, as the beneficiary, you're not going to complain. You don't even know you've got two policies. But the federal government and the taxpayer, they're paying twice. And guess who doesn't mind that? The insurance companies don't mind that, and states don't mind that.
Wow. And Sunday morning, what else would you like to tell them, the American people? I mean, they're sitting right by the radio listening to you.
Well, you got a big game this evening, and the most important thing to remember
Super Bowl.
is you're not playing in the game. You're eating and watching it. So I would encourage you, either work out before the game starts or make a few wise decisions. At least don't drink. You don't want any two-fisted drinking and eating. Keep one hand free to shake the hands of people watching the game with you or clapping or cheering. So one-handed with alcohol or one hand with food, but not both.
Understood. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Oz, for coming on this Sunday morning, and thank you for everything you and President Trump are doing. God bless you, and God bless America.
God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.